G'day and welcome to Mustang Motorsport. I'm Craig Dean and this is
James Johnson.
And we're going to feature two cars here today, the Shelby GT and the wide body Super Snake. So what we're endeavouring to do today is to explain to you how we turn a standard GT Mustang into a cool rocket ship under licence from Shelby American. So what we're going to do is we'll run around these cars and James will explain some things. I'll ask some questions and we'll see what we come up with. So James, we'll start with the GT.
Yes.
Let's do a walk around, eh?
Cool. Well, this one's a really cool one. This is the Shelby GT. So this is the entry into the Shelby brand. And we start off with the standard Mustang like you see behind us. And we turn into the Shelby GT. So they do start without a supercharger, but you can option the 700 horsepower supercharger on top.
Yep, okay. So what's different in the front with this car?
So with all new 2018 plus Shelby Mustangs, they have a brand new front fascia. So this front fascia includes the Shelby upper grille, Shelby brake ducts and cooling ducts to the side here, and a Shelby front splitter, as well as a whole front end redesign. So Shelby really went above and beyond with this model to make it stand out from a normal Mustang.
So are these indicators standard or is this different again?
The indicators are standard, so it uses all the factory lighting, but the design on where they sit is completely different. So even though it is standard, it does look completely different.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a really good facelift, isn't it?
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. And so when we go onto the hood here, this is different?
Yeah, so the Shelby GT hood, it is like a bit of a heritage model. So if you look back to even the 60s and even the 07 Shelby GTs, they have a heat extractor hood. So they have the vents just over the radiator and allowing heat out of the hood. And it also gives it that really big power bulge on top, which people love with a muscle car. You got the big high bonnet, which is really cool when you're sitting behind the wheel.
I was just looking here as a feature of the classic car, for example. We've got a 66 in the showroom here today, and you'll see the, well, they call them the gills, don't they?
Yeah, tri-bars.
Tri-bars on the side here. And if you look at the classic over here, it's got them on the side there in a subtle way in the metalwork. So this feature's always been, brought through the range of the Mustang era into the latest model. So there's some niceties, and we'll go through a few more while we've got this beast here we can show you as well. Not as powerful, little 289 in there, but still good classic car that started it all to lead us to where we are today. Okay, so we feature the hood in the front. James, tell us about these wheels. They're a Shelby only wheel?
Yeah, these are the Shelby CS3 wheels. They're actually available retail, but they feature on the Shelby GT. And they come in like 20 by 9.5 on the front and a 20 by 11 on the rear. So a nice wide footprint on the rear, a 305 to get the power to the ground, and then the offsets are quite aggressive. So these are available in the chrome powder coat, which you see here, and gloss black as well. They look quite mean with the gloss black.
Yep, so when you say these are bought retail, Super Snake wheels, what's the difference?
So Super Snake wheel, you can only buy that with the vehicle. So the Super Snake is the top dog, and all the components, well 99% of the components on that are exclusive to that car. So when you're buying a Super Snake, it's an exclusive vehicle. No one else on the road can have one. Okay. So
cool.
It's quite cool.
All right, we'll move on to that one later.
Yeah.
So this car's got some side scoop. What's the story with that?
After we've finished the build on this vehicle, the customer wanted to add a little bit more accessories to it. So they've gone with these side scoops. So they're actually from Savini, and they're quite a popular addition to all our cars really. So people love to add the classic look on the side of them. So.
Yep. So what happens to the car as far as the registry is concerned? Because Carroll Shelby has a registry for all the cars that are built under Shelby American.
Yes.
And the vehicles we build also go on the registry.
Yep.
So if it's got a side scoop or something that's not quite Shelby, what happens with that as far as registry is concerned?
The registry can be updated with non-Shelby modifications to the vehicle, and they're listed as such, but they're not listed as a part of the original build. Yeah. So you can have it listed there so people know that the customer modified the vehicle. They have that history because it's all about building the history with the vehicle. But it'll still be clearly listed as not an official part of the build. Yeah. So basically, the registry will record anything that's done to your motor car. So if you've got a Shelby and you want to put aftermarket parts on it, they like to know what's the history of the car, just like so they know how its journey was from the beginning right through to current days. So anybody that looks at that and wants to buy that car knows it's genuine, then also knows that the customer preferred to have something a little bit different. So it's all about personalising your car how you like it, isn't it? Yeah, and you see that with Concourse 1967 Shelby GT500s, and they'll have a different colour stripe on them and you look back in the registry and you go, oh, that car didn't come with that color, it had a different color.
Yep.
So it's a little bit about keeping that history and people know what the car was originally built like.
So we'll move on to the rear. So at the back here, what have we got that's different here from a standard Mustang?
So the Shelby GT has a changed deck lid with the Shelby Cobra Snake on the back of it. That is the original Shelby badge that was on the Cobras and everything back in the day, before the Mustang. So it's got a very heritage, old school look to the back. And then you got the big quad tips, again with the Shelby naming on them. This exhaust system on this vehicle is a full catback, and it has the active valves in it too. So quiet mode, so you don't disturb your neighbors, and race mode when you're at the track. So, and it sounds like a real Shelby then. So,
yep.
Yeah.
So another thing we do here, folks, is that all the car builds we do are ADR compliant. So we do a low volume second stage manufacture on these cars. So the reason we do that is so we can register these cars throughout all of Australia, basically. And it's a legal modification so that you don't get in trouble with the police if they think you've got a modified car. So that's something we pride in ourselves, is making sure that these are road registerable and legal on the road here.
So as you can see here, this vehicle's got the second stage manufacture plate on it. This means that all the modifications are ADR approved and complied with the Australian government. So these are the only vehicles that have this feature,
yep.
Basically. Yeah. So while we're here, we'll jump inside and have a look in the Shelby.
This is real comfortable, James.
It is. So this particular one's got the Shelby retrimmed interior. So it's got the suede accent with the real leather. The owner of this car chose to do the nice subtle grey to match the outside. But they've got some bright colours like red, blue, and some really striking things. So because this car's manual, it has a short throw shifter, which really helps improve shift feel with the vehicle. As well on the dash here, you can see the Shelby CSM plate. So that's what we're talking about with the Shelby registry
yep.
on there.
Yep. So the Alcantara is a good idea because obviously you're going to do track orientated driving in this car. You've got some good grip.
Yep.
Also in hot weather it's nicer.
Yep, definitely.
On your body, and the seat heaters and
aircon still
work on the seats, so that's really good.
Yeah. So like anything, they always say a race car doesn't have leather seats. So the suede's nice and grippy. You can go around some corners nice and fast, and it'll keep you in the seat. So neat little feature just then. We've got the gas struts on the hood. That's probably the biggest complaint of any Mustang owner, is lifting that stick up. Every Shelby...
Still here.
Still here. Every Shelby has the, we put the gas struts on, so the engine bay looks its best at the car shows, so it's pretty cool. One last part with the hood, you've got Shelby underneath as well, which really kind of sets off the underside of it. But yeah, moving on to the exciting part.
Nice feature. Shelby, yeah. Shelby, 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 it's everywhere.
So this has got the 700 horsepower Ford Performance Supercharger. This kit's been tried and tested. We've been fitting it onto Shelbys and other Mustangs for the last 2 years. Really reliable, and it makes for great power through the rev range.
I love them. Yeah, I think they've just got very good power delivery, and just a really good driving car for cruising around the freeways or on the track, anywhere you like. It just gives you the freedom to be a real cool sports car. Yeah,
and these are available with automatic and manual transmissions. So one of these with the auto is a very quick car. So like does mid 11 second quarter miles, and it's just a really nice setup on the street. So it's pretty cool, that setup.
So tell us about the badging on this particular car. So what have we got here over on your side?
So each Shelby vehicle's got a signed technician badge on the vehicle. Each builder gets their signature on the car, so you know who's put their love and joy into building it. So yeah, this is the same badging that comes in America with the American vehicles, and it just shows like the dedication that each team member has to making sure the cars are perfect. So as well, in the engine bay on the other side is the Shelby CSM plaque.
Yep.
Still using the same plaque and the material since the 60s, and that's so you know that it's an official Shelby vehicle. So you can look this number up in the Shelby registry and it'll be there. Blue, white stripe, Shelby GT with 700 horsepower.
Yep. And the stripes on this have been painted?
They have actually.
Yep. And so what's the story about stripes on these cars?
So normally they come with, the standard option is to have the vinyl stickers on them, and they're available in a blue, a red, a silver, a black and a white. If you go painted stripes, then you open up the whole color palette and have anything you want. Another bit of heritage with this car, it's actually got the Daytona blue, or Guardsman blue, I think it's called.
Guardsman blue.
Guardsman blue, which is what Carroll Shelby's race-winning Daytona Cobras had on them.
Yep.
So that is like the Shelby blue. So I think it's a really cool combo to have the Oxford white with the Daytona blue color, or Guardsman blue, sorry. Yep,
there you go. So we built quite a few cars for New Zealand. This is actually a car going back to New Zealand shortly. And so it doesn't matter how far you live in the Australasian area, we can do any Shelby for you and build them up for you. So, you know, if you're in Darwin, Cairns, doesn't matter, bring them to us and we can get you going into a real Shelby. So let's move on to the next beast, eh?
Yes.
The flagship of Shelby American.
Yep, so this is the wide body. You may have seen this vehicle on the behind the build video we've put up on YouTube. It was quite popular. A lot of our followers and everything really enjoyed that video and got to see how the car was built and put together. We thought we'd kind of show you a bit more of this car because it is such a cool beast. So this particular one, you can see, if you compare it to the GT beside us, has a more aggressive front splitter on it. That really does signify that it's the Super Snake, because it looks really bad in a good way. It's very mean in your rear view mirror. So the Super Snake also has the air in and air out hood. So it's got the 2 nostrils at the front and the extraction out the back. Very steeped in history with the other old classic Shelbys that have the trying to get the heat out of the engine bay and give it a really aggressive look. So it's pretty cool.
Yep, so this one's got painted stripes as well.
Yep.
And everything's functional on this car. So you know, Shelby's put a lot of thought into making sure it's got good downforce, so for good ride holding. And also this is a wide body, so we've got some big rubber on the front and rear of this car. One to get it to turn in well, and the other one is to get it to put the power down. What's your favourite part about this car?
Definitely the wheels.
The wheels. Nothing like deep dish wheels, is there?
Yeah, so the wheels on this vehicle really make people stop, and it is because they're a single piece billet forged wheel. The rear is a 20 by 12.5, and it is quite impressive.
Massive deep dish, isn't it? And so I see you got some Brembos. Geez, they fill them in, don't they? So quite a big rear brake system on this, which is a Shelby Brembo.
Yes, so the Shelby Super Snake, and this is one thing that does set it apart from the GT, is a complete package. So yes, it's got the horsepower, it's got the bodywork, but it's also got the suspension, the brakes, and everything in between to make it handle, stop, go as best as possible. So the Shelby Brembo brake kit on this is the GT series. So this is far and above any OEM Brembo brake system they have, and it is kind of in the direction of a race brake. So you can put in like very aggressive race pads on here, and I don't know, you can probably do the Bathurst 12-hour with these. And
Could do. I've got them on my race car, my Shelby Gt.
You do, yes.
And they work very, very well. And side skirts on this car are also different.
Yeah, so they have Shelby's got the replacement side skirt, and they have rocker winglets that go on the ends, and they're directing air to the back wheels and everything. That all helps with the wider of the the side skirts of it.
Yep.
So, which is pretty cool. So another thing with these wheels too is they're a 345 30/20. So that's I think it's bigger than some Lamborghinis, which is cool.
Up here we've got a little another Cobra badge. I noticed it's on the Shelby GT as well as the Super Snakes.
Shelby started doing the little badge on the back here in 2015. So every model's got it. If you see a 50th anniversary Super Snake, that's where it says the 50th on there. So you know if that one's one of those signature models that we've done. That was quite a popular model, that one, yep. With it, so it's quite cool.
Tell us about the back of this one here. It's a little different to the Shelby GT as well.
Yeah, so they've got the Super Snake spoiler with the integrated wicker bill. Some people do say that the Shelby's the wrong way around, but they did that for a reason, and that is when you're jumping in the car, and you look back at the back of your wide body Super Snake and you're like, that thing looks really nice. It says Shelby right back at you.
Through the rear vision mirror.
Yes, so, which is kind of sneaky, but it works out quite well. And you have the Shelby panel across the back there between the tail lights, so you know exactly what this car is. It's also got the completely different rear valance with these hex diamond shaped tips. So they're unique to the Super Snake. And I reckon that's probably my second favorite part of the Super Snake, because it's really, you don't see any other car with an exhaust tip like that. And once again, it's fully active, so it's got quiet mode and race mode. and sport and everything in between. So yeah, it really sounds cool.
Yeah, I've driven this car around a little bit, and people just come up to you all the time and say, man, that's just tough, you know, and it really has a presence. Even when it's sitting still, it looks pretty tough and fast, doesn't it?
So with the Shelby vehicles, they do have the option to have interior retrim of the standard seats and the Recaros. So this particular one has the Recaro seats in it. So you get that little bit more hip hugging, but also they just got to look more aggressive and better too, don't they?
Yeah, they're quite a comfortable seat, but more race orientated, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
And this one's ADR compliant as well, and registered as a Shelby Super Snake.
Yep. So that means you can pick up this car, register, take it to Queensland, take it to WA, register it just like any normal vehicle, and it's all compliant and registered for everything, which is great. There's another thing with the Super Snake in the interior. There's the gauge pod on top. That's a really popular one. That really kind of gives it the old school look with the old school gauges.
And once again, it's got a Shelby build plate inside on the dashboard, so you can recognise it easily by looking inside.
You might notice that this one's automatic. You know, there's some people think it's a bit sacrilege on a performance car to have auto, but the new 10-speed in the current model Mustang is really impressive. And if you want a quick car, especially in a straight line, you can't beat the 10-speed auto. It's pretty amazing, especially strapped to 800 horsepower. Of the Whipple Supercharger.
It can be frightening quick, right?
It can.
I'll open the hood because that sounds American, right?
It does.
Nice chrome supercharger here. It's a Whipple, and again, it's licensed for from Whipple to Shelby to use. Once again, we've got our build plate here. We've got two passionate workers that built this car.
One of them's actually me.
Oh, it is too. Oh, you got your name on it.
Yeah.
And again, some nice Shelby niceties. You know, you got your caps on everything with Shelby on it. Your cooler tank, radiator reservoir.
Yep. And this particular car is the 800 horsepower pack. So it's not just a supercharger upgrade. So you have the standard Super Snake can be fitted with the 700 like you saw on the GT. On the Super Snake, you can upgrade to 800 pack. So the 800 pack is the supercharger plus upgraded radiator. There's other cooling items that are changed. Axles are upgraded, wheel studs are upgraded, tail shaft is upgraded. So once we jump to the 800, we start upgrading the drivetrain as well to handle all that power. So it's more than just the supercharger when it comes to that point of it. And that's part of the Super Snake thing, is that every component that is not up to par gets upgraded and changed.
I see we've got a Shelby plate on top of the strut tower brace here.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about what we got here happening.
All right, so they're not just for looks. That's actually part of the camber kit. So with the suspension that goes into these, they're fully adjustable. So you've got camber in the front, and in the rear there's camber and toe, adjustable and everything. So if you're putting suspension, all these components on the vehicle, you need to get the alignment right to get the power to the ground. And without doing these changes, the performance just isn't there really. So even down to alignment is what makes or breaks a car. Yep.
And we've got a nice feature here with a vent on the side of the fender. So that obviously extracts air out as well?
Yeah, they have a build-up of air through the pocket through here. So they have a heat extractor there, and it is a bit of a nice styling cue to really emphasize the front fenders, because these are changed, which really sets it off. So, and as you saw, people watching our videos, you saw how this car came together. So definitely check that one out if you want to see how it was all pulled apart and never put back together again.
Big stoppers once again on the front. They were 15-inch.
They're 405mm, so I think that's 15 and a half.
That's huge.
So that's pretty big.
Yeah, so big stoppers.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, why don't we just start this thing up and have a listen to it? What do you reckon? Leave it up. So as you can hear, folks, this thing has a bit of a burble at the back there. So a little bit of a nice touch of the old Mustangs in the day, back in the 60s, that when you're cruising down the highway and you back off and it burbles, which is, you know, pretty cool thing to have in a late model car these days. So there's a few features that, you know, the retro and trying to keep a little bit of upcoming of its heritage, which makes these cars all the more exciting. And I know for a fact that you drive one of these Shelbys around, you become Hollywood fame very quickly. And even though the car's famous, you're the ones driving it. That's pretty cool.
So I hope you like checking out these new Shelbys, and keep a lookout for some more videos where we'll feature some new cars. So thank you.
Thank you.